Good evening, humans. Tyrannosaurusmoth here, and tonight we're taking a look at the Marvel Legends Age of Apocalypse Colossus Build-A-Figure Wave Magneto figure. And this is my favorite look for Magneto, or one of my favorite versions of Magneto just overall, so I was really happy when I saw this was coming out. And I really like the way what they did with the looks here. And yeah, I guess last thing I'm going to say is that I'm going to dedicate this particular review to my friend and occasional bandmate Rev, because he's the biggest Magneto fan that I know. So let's get right into this review. Let's do this. So as I just said, aesthetically speaking, I totally dig this version of Magneto, and Magneto in general has always appealed to me visually, just because, in case you haven't noticed, I have a thing for the red and purple color combination. Especially when you mix that with black as well. So, while there are no black elements to this costume, there is, however, on the only other Magneto I currently have, which I didn't notice until I started putting them side by side. Literally same figure with the hands and everything, like same arm cuffs and boots and all that. Bring them closer so it makes more sense. Only differences here really are a different cape and a different head sculpt. So there you go. And I love this Magneto figure. So though I'm not as familiar with that version, but for this version, again, just really simple, like barely any paint application, honestly, but it doesn't need it because, again, the red and purple plastic do all the work, and I'm really happy about that. We've got some silver rivets here on the base of the collar. Not totally cleanly done. There's a little bit of like just clearly just not some thick paint there, and I can totally go over that. That's no big deal. The only thing that makes me slightly sad about the one I got that I didn't notice in package is that there's some glue here, and that's gonna be a little harder to get rid of. So look out for that, I guess. I didn't realize that's something I'd have to look out for, but other than that, like, face sculpt is really nice. I like the way they did the hair. It definitely has a nice pliability and moves. So you can make this look good in various different poses. So aesthetics, get an okay from me. For accessories, we don't get too much with Magneto, and this is also the one figure in the wave that does not have a Build-A-Figure piece. So obviously no Build-A-Figure piece here, but we do get two different head sculpts, and the first one we did take a look at in aesthetics. But something I did forget to mention in that section is that you can see these little like black lines at the top of the eyes, and that's something, when you see this in the wild, is definitely something you want to take a look out for. I'm not focusing properly here. There we go. Because those lines aren't always as clearly defined at the top. I kind of had to go through 3 or 4 before I found the one that worked right, which is probably why I missed the little bit of glue here on the top of the helmet. So just keeping that in mind. The other head sculpt we get right out of the box is the unhelmeted head, and really fantastic sculpt here. Great work, minimal paint, but totally works. That expression is priceless. Absolutely love it. Totally captures Magnus's like essence, I think. And going on from there, we get 2 sets of hands, again out of the box, since I actually was just showing that. We get our kind of magnetic power wielding hands, sort of grasping hands, just evil power orb grabbing hands. And then we get our fists, left and a right, and finally just 2 effects pieces, these swirly doos that we seem to be getting with like almost every Marvel Legends lately, but cast in purple plastic, so totally gets points with me, and that's accessories. When it comes to articulation, we get pretty much our standard Marvel Legends male buck range, with the exception of no butterfly joints here, but I'm getting ahead of myself, so let's start from the top. And both head sculpts have the long hair in the back, so you're really not going to get any up. You're going to get kind of just slightly north of there, which actually in of itself is impressive. It's nice they gave it that little bit of clearance, especially with a cape. Down, we're actually getting pretty decent down. Obviously you're going to get the hair kind of puffing out here, but you know, if you're showing it from the front, that actually works. You can get a little bit of tilt thanks to the way that ball hinge actually works. Then we get to the shoulders, like I said, no butterfly, but we can get just slightly past 90, and I kind of marred my nail polish here, so excuse me. Then we get bicep swivel. We get double jointed elbows, which are going to be stopped because of these gauntlets. Then we get our hinge and swivel at the wrist, all horizontal hinges. We get our standard ab crunch with some pretty deep range there in the front, some fantabulous back. Then we get a swivel at the waist, nicely hidden by the belt. When it comes to our splits, we are not doing so well. Like that's kind of barely, if you file these down, you might get a little bit more range, but yeah, not too great out of the box. Then we get thigh swivel, double jointed knees. Wow, don't want to wrench that off. And then we get boot swivel. There we go. We get some perfect point. We get some, there we go. Some really nice forward. And finally, that Marvel Legends Hasbro really ankle rocker. And that's Articulation. Getting into size comparisons, here is Magneto with some other Marvel Legends X-Men, with some other Hasbro, with some imports, with some monsters. Finally, with an Articulated Icons Oni, and yours truly in human form as an Articulated Icons Ninja. So my final thoughts on the Age of Apocalypse Magneto figure from Marvel Legends line is that it's definitely solid. I kind of wish they had retooled the legs a little bit, so we just got a little bit better range there. I mean, not that Magneto needs to be super flexible, but just it would give more options. But beyond that, I mean, I do like this mold. I totally dig the original Apocalypse Build-A-Figure wave Magneto, so this definitely, like, I don't dislike it. I just wish they had kind of updated a little bit. But again, I understand the need to do a lot of reuse at this point. And honestly, I'm gonna say that this is probably the first Marvel Legends wave that I'm probably gonna review every figure in, because I really want that Colossus figure. And I love all these redesigns. And I'll touch on that a little more succinctly and a little more directly when I do the Cyclops review. So, watch that when it comes up. But for this, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little sad I wasn't able to get the MothX version of this character. But there's still time. Who knows what the future holds. But for this, definitely worth it. I've seen a ton on pegs, so if you see this on the shelf, definitely pick it up, especially if you're a Legends collector. If you love the Age of Apocalypse story arc just as much as I do, if you love this redesign of Magneto. So yeah, and again, shout out to my friend Rev, who's the biggest Magneto fan I know. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this review informative and somewhat entertaining. And if you did, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing, and or sharing. And there will be other ways to support the channel in the description as well. So please check that out. And and also if you want to pick up your own and maybe you don't want to go out to a store, I will be listing online retailers, my personal favorite, in the description as well, to where you can pick up your own Magneto. So that being said, ultra thanks to you for watching. I hope you take care of yourself, take care of those around you, and most importantly, stay weird, simians.